Rental car companies are a nightmare and impossible to deal with if something like this happens. So I got into Glasgow last night. It is now the following morning. Stayed here at the Glasgow Central above the city center's train station last night. This was a quick pit stop. I'm headed down the southwest coast of Scotland for the next 8 or 9 days. Should be a lot of fun. I took a quick pit stop in Bogston, which is between Port Glasgow and Greenock, so I could get a view of the Firth of Clyde. And back down the coast I went. So after being on the road for about 2 hours headed down the coast, I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm actually on a detour a few miles inland now in an area called Alloway. I hope I didn't butcher that too much for anyone from the area, but from what I can gather, there's really not a whole lot to do here, but it is home to a beautiful glen, what's known as the Linn Glen. And at the Linn Glen, there's a nice guided walking trail. And at the end of said walking trail, there are some falls. So I kind of just wanted to get off the beaten path a little bit, come check out these falls before, continuing down the road to my next stay in this road trip. The Linn Falls, wow, they were great. Well, while I was there, I met these two gentlemen that had suggested I go check out the Tiana Falls, and I told them I had never even heard of the Tiana Falls. They said, oh, it's maybe about a 10-minute drive from here. So I checked it out on the map service. Impossible to find. I've got a confession to make. I had to go all the way to Facebook and watch a dash cam driving video for my directions that have gotten me to a hole in a hedge. Yeah. Well, that starts the top of the trail, about a 5-minute walk down to the falls. 2 falls, 1 day. Let's go. This place was like out of a fairy tale, and I got to experience my second cold swim since moving to Scotland. Second night, and I got to see my first sunset on the trip. Good morning, everyone. It is day 3 of my road trip down in the southwest of Scotland. That sunset that you saw was from last night over in a city called Ayr. I'm in Prestwick. They're kind of like a twin city sort of deal where they're stacked on top of each other. Stayed here last night at the Carlton Hotel in Prestwick. Great night stay, but I'm going to go ahead and continue down the coast this morning and eventually end up in an area called Stranraer, but not before a few fun stops along the way. First stop of the day was to head on over to Burns Cottage in Alloway, and that's where Robert Burns, he's widely regarded as the national poet of Scotland, was born. So wanted to see where he grew up for the first 7 years of his life. And so from the Burns Cottage, I headed on down the road to the Robert Burns Birthplace Museum. It was about a 10-minute walk, and that's home to a lot of his original works and pieces. Next, it was off on over to the Brigadoon and the Burns Monument. And the last stop in the area was the Alloway Old Kirk, which is where both Rappy Burns' father and younger sister are buried. And just down the road, I got to visit my first castle, Girvan Castle, which hangs on the edge of a cliff. I actually got to experience my first fish and chips in the UK later in the day, and the place that I went to was absolutely jam-packed. Now here it may look like I'm enjoying myself, and well, the fish and chips, they were actually quite good, but make no mistake, this is the face of someone absolutely broken. And this is the part of the road trip where things take a turn for the absolute worst. Things headed downhill and fast. Let's back up. You see, before heading to the fish and chips joint, I had been on the phone for hours and hours with support from the Avis rental car company, trying to figure out a solution to a major problem I had created for myself. At some point between locking the car, walking 5 minutes up to Girvan Castle for some photos and videos, and the 5-minute walk back, I had misplaced the only set of keys. The panic quickly set in, and boy did I search for hours and hours while on the phone in the instance that I couldn't find the keys. Now mind you, the area leading up to the castle was all tall, thick grass and was barely trafficked. In fact, I only saw one other person during the hours-long search. Something so small, yet so important, and I took its security for granted. Let me tell you, you start looking in some of the most outlandish of places, and after a while, I just knew it was a lost cause. So with all of my packed belongings and a locked car, with night beginning to creep in, and a hotel reservation some 2 hours or so further down the coast, what was I to do? Well, I managed to get a locksmith out who was then able to get into the vehicle so I could collect as many essentials as I could carry, and thanks again, Tony. Very much appreciated. And Tony was even kind enough as to give me a lift to the local rail station there in Ayr, which is what I considered my best option while receiving zero help from Avis between the countless holds and transfers. I made it to Stranraer later in the evening at about 11 and had a 2-mile walk of shame to my bed and breakfast for the night. I obviously didn't plan on making this video. It is just after midnight where I'm staying outside of Stranraer at the Balliet Farmhouse, bed and breakfast. I'd hoped to be here about 8 hours ago, but it's just been a really long day, and at this point I've already filled y'all in on with what happened this afternoon, and I think a quote once by Mike Tyson really applies in my situation, and that's that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and I definitely punched myself in the mouth today. Again, it really stinks, but I've got no one else to blame but myself. That's okay though, because tomorrow's a new day, and I'm gonna get up, get back on my feet, and figure this thing out so that I can continue on this journey. Hey, buddy. Buddy. So it's the following morning, day 4 of this road trip. I'm just now checking out of the farmhouse bed and breakfast behind me. Headed over to the train station in Stranraer and then back up to Ayr. This is probably going to be the last video that I shoot for a bit because I've got quite a few things to take care of, so I guess I'll see you when I see you. with me? As if it couldn't get any worse. Well, it did, and I'm back here at Ayr Rail Station. Made a decision earlier this morning down in Stranraer to come back up to Ayr, book another rental car, this time through Eurocar, where you just saw the garage doors were closed. They were really the only option within about 50 miles as far as the rental car route was concerned. And thinking about getting here at 1 o'clock, made the reservation at about 9 this morning. Getting here at 1, it's a Saturday. Only problem is they close at noon on Saturdays. And to make matters worse, they're closed entirely on Sundays. So it was supposed to be a 5-day car reservation, is now maybe only going to be 3 days. Haven't had very good luck on this trip. But I guess that's the beauty of the public rail system, is that I'm able to kind of fill in the holes where I'm needing to. This one really hurts though, because where I'm staying tonight I think is one of the coolest hotels in all of Scotland. Only problem is when I get to the rail station tonight and the taxi that I hired takes me out there, you can only get to where I'm going by vehicle, it's just going to be too dark. And hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be able to get some better pictures as to what it's like and what the area is like. When it rains, it pours. You know, if it can't happen, it will happen. There are a variety of idioms that you can use to describe the scenario that I've put myself into. Let's go with a comedy of errors. I like a comedy of errors, so yeah. Here at Ayr Rail Station, going back down to Stranraer in about 20 minutes. Gotta stay optimistic that I can right this ship. Still got a couple days time left on this journey. And I have to stay optimistic because I'm having a 5-course meal tonight when I get down to that hotel. Been talking entirely too long in this video, so I'm just going to leave you with, this has just been the next chapter in a wild journey. Good morning, day 5. Wow, what an incredible dinner that was last night here at a very windy Corsewall point this morning outside of Stranraer. Now, it was too dark last night when I got into the hotel I stayed at to really show you what it looked like, but got enough light this morning that I can go ahead and reveal that venue now. This is the Corsewall Lighthouse Hotel on the edge of the world. What an incredible place to be at. The landscape's just breathtaking, really. The staff here, the service, they are all so wonderful. Now, checkout's in about 30 minutes, but I plan on sticking around in the area for a couple of hours to really make up for some of that lost time these past couple of days. And then from here, I'll catch a taxi back into town to Stranraer, and from there, take a bus over to Newton Stewart for the next leg of this journey. Back in Stranraer now, where it was time to catch a bus to my next destination. I've traveled by car, by train, and can now officially say by bus. Made it to Newton Stewart, just now crossing the River Cree, headed towards the Creebridge House Hotel, where I'll be spending the evening. Just made it into the Creebridge House Hotel, and check out these tartan carpet floors. Oh my. Day 6 now, leaving the town of Newton Stewart, headed back up towards Ayr, about to catch a bus that will take me to Girvan Station on the coast, which is about halfway between Ayr and Stranraer. Feels like I've just been going in circles the last couple of days, but from Girvan Station I'll catch a train up to Ayr. Well, hopefully I'll have a rental car waiting for me this time around, but just gonna manifest it that today is the day that things turn around. Just want to hop on here real quick at Girvan Station to say, as rough as things have been for me lately, I've just actually thought of something, and that's that there's been a bright spot these past few days. The wheels on my suitcase have held on for dear life after being dragged around on rough, uneven surfaces for maybe 15 miles. So, as it turns out, I do have one thing going my way. Oh, what a relief it is. So I've just picked up my second rental car of this trip, and what do you know? It is the same exact make and model as the first rental car I got. Almost too good to be true. The crazy part about that is, it's actually, I booked a 4-door sedan style car here at Eurocar in Ayr, but when I showed up to this branch location, they actually gave me an upgrade. Just can't seem to get away from this vehicle. I am back in business, headed down towards the Gatehouse of Fleet and Dumfries and Galloway, where I'll be staying for the next couple of nights. But first, I wanted to make a quick pit stop to where the mess really all began 3 days ago and see if I could find the keys to this guy. I figured it was worth maybe another 15 or 20 minute search. I wonder... Nope. I even exhausted the option of checking for if the keys had been found and turned into the local police station. No luck, though. And so it was back on the road again. After driving down the coast for 2 hours, wow, driving, that actually almost sounds foreign at this point. And speaking of point, I'm at the most southerly point of Scotland. See what I did there? This is the Mull of Galloway, and specifically the Mull of Galloway Lighthouse. Wow, it is so windy, I am literally tearing up. This one's not a hotel though, this is actually just an experience, so I think I'm gonna go ahead, walk around, and just explore a little bit. Just walked in the door to my snug. That's what they call the lodging accommodations here at the Seaview Snugs at Laggan in the Gatehouse of Fleet. Now guys, I had absolutely no idea just how cozy this place was gonna be before arriving tonight. I'm staying at the Dock, which is one of the property's woodland retreats. And better yet, I'm here for 2 nights. So the only stop on this road trip where I can say that I'll be staying for longer than 1 evening Now, unfortunately, again, just got in too late. It was just too dark outside to show you the area, but had a great time this afternoon down at the Mull of Galloway. So hopefully when the sun comes up tomorrow, I'll be able to give you a better idea as to the landscape, as well as potentially a sea view, hence the property's name. Day 7 down here in southwest Scotland. Just got done with another great full cooked breakfast, actually here at the property's on-site bistro behind me called Gather. Now Gather does breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so gonna come back a little later on and see how their dinner menu stacks up, but boy do they do breakfast right in this country, and they were not kidding when they said sea view snugs. Sure, you can hear that chainsaw in the background, but the views from up on this hillside, just absolutely to die for. Can't wait to check out the beaches either a little later on today or sometime tomorrow, but definitely before my visit is up. Now they've got their retreats kind of scattered all throughout the property. I'm actually in one of their little woodland retreats right along in here called the Dock, but gonna hang out here up at Gather a little bit longer and get some more video, or gather some more video if you will, that I can show you, and then head back on down to my snug where I'll be able to show you what the views are like from down there. I have to say, Laggan had it all, the complete package, and if I was ever back in the area, I would definitely make reservations there again. I started the day's activities by exploring Laggan Burn in the area, which is like a little stream. Next it was off castle hunting, but I didn't fare too well. The first 2 castles were closed for masonry inspections, and the third, well, let's just say I wasn't swimming across a moat. Later after dinner, I made it down to Mossyard Beach, just before it got too dark. Checking in this morning on day 8 before I sadly have to check out here at Laggan and the Dock. What a wonderful 2 nights it's been. Just a great all-around venue. Gonna continue to head east down the Solway coast this morning to my final overnight visit along this road trip. Got a few stops to make before I get there, just time dependent on as to how many I can actually see. But quickly, I wanted to talk about something that there's been a development with my first rental vehicle over the past couple of days. Now, 2 days ago, when I went back to search for my car, or the keys to the car, one last time for 15 or 20 minutes, I ran into the woman who actually lives at the house where the car is parked out in front of, and her name is Nancy, and that was a good surprise because I have a younger sister whose name is Nancy, if you're watching, Nancy. And Nancy and I got to talking. She even invited me into her home. I could not believe it. I left her with my phone number and just wanted to have her call me back should she see something happening with the vehicle outside of her window. Well, yesterday morning I got through to Avis, who transferred me to a company here in Britain called the RAC, which does collections, and they said they would advise me and call back as to when I needed to be present on site for the collection to go ahead and go through. Well, the only problem is Nancy called me yesterday afternoon to say that someone was towing away my vehicle. Now, I was left a bit confused because, like I said, I thought I had to be present for the collection to happen, and I still have belongings in the car, so I don't know where my car is, I don't know where it's going, but I'm not going to stress about it too much because I have too much to look forward to over the next 24 hours. But that's just a testament to the Scots and people like Nancy. Just wanted to throw that in there, just how warm they are here in this country. And I wanted to leave you guys with one last view of where I've been staying over the last 2 days. Just wow. More castles, but more masonry inspections. So next it was off to the little village of Creetown, where I had a little better luck at a place that was suggested by the owners of Laggan, and that was the Gem Rock Museum. Just got off the phone with someone from Avis Assist who confirmed that yes, indeed, the rental car had been towed all the way up to their branch at the Glasgow International Airport. Wasn't planning on returning to Glasgow on this trip, but not a lot has gone according to plan, if I'm being honest. So if I want to grab the remainder of my belongings, gotta head up that way. But enough of moaning on that saga. I'm more interested in other things, like what you see behind me here at Caerlaverock Castle, just south of Dumfries. And this is by far the coolest castle I have made it to on this entire road trip. So I figured I had to save the best for last. And I made one final stop before my last overnight stay, and that was the Globe Inn, a pub made famous by none other than Robbie Burns himself. The rain is really starting to come down right now, but I wanted to quickly say that I made it to Balcary Bay for my last overnight stay on this road trip down here in southwest Scotland. You can't tell right now, but between this island, Heston Island, and Balcary Point right there, England is somewhere behind the clouds across the Solway Firth there. So maybe when conditions clear up tomorrow, we'll be able to see it. This is going to be the last time that you see me until the journey home begins tomorrow. From sea views on a hillside to bay views at the shore. What a way to cap off this 9-day road trip. But it's back home on up to Edinburgh today. Got a few stops to make before I get there. One of them being the Glasgow airport, where I hopefully have the remainder of my belongings waiting for me at the Avis branch there. This trip has just been so much fun, but I cannot wait to sleep in my own bed tonight. just hopped on a train, but where else? At Ayr Station. I've been here 4 times or so the last week, ready to leave this place once for all. That's not a knock on Ayr, but I've just been here enough times that I don't think I need to come back anytime soon. So obviously didn't make it to Glasgow. It's because I got about 5 minutes down the road after leaving the Balcary Bay Hotel and received a phone call from the Aegis branch at Glasgow Airport. They called me. I didn't call them. They called me. That's definitely a first in this week-long exchange or so, to say that even though they had possession of the car, they still couldn't get in the vehicle, have to order a new key. That's going to take 5 to 7 working business days, and so I still can't get my belongings until maybe a week or so I'll just have to go back there at some point. Still going to Glasgow today, believe it or not, because that's the first leg of this train journey before I end up ultimately at Edinburgh Waverley. Just dropped off the second rental car, walked on over here, and headed on home finally. So I just got off the train here at Glasgow Central, about to walk to Glasgow Queen Street for the second leg that'll take me to Edinburgh Waverley. But look where we ended up, right back where night 1 was spent at the Voco Grand Central. This trip is truly coming full circle.